You are listening to the 5 a.m. podcast, and today is your day. Welcome to the 5 a.m. podcast, where we bring you insightful conversations with thought leaders and influencers who are making headway and some waves in their callings. Today, we are joined by Jason Heinritz, whose journey from ambitious sales leader to spiritual mentor exemplifies transformation in action. After building one of the top producing sales teams in direct sales, Jason experienced a profound realization that he was constructing his own kingdoms rather than God's. This awakening sparked a 5-year journey of surrender that completely redirected his purpose. And now, as the founder of Wake Up Jesus People and creator of the 40 Forge Challenge, Jason equips people to establish powerful spiritual rhythms that transform them mentally, physically, and spiritually. He's a devoted husband, father of 2 boys, and young adult ministry leader whose mission is clear: to wake up the population and ignite bold, authentic faith in a world that desperately needs it. Now, a warm welcome to you as you listen or watch, wherever that might be. Please consider sharing this with 3 of your friends. I know many are going to enjoy this conversation. And I want to say hello to our followers in Brazil. From what our analytics tell us, we have a growing base there, and we thank you for joining us today. Also, a big thanks to those of you that have given us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast player. We do appreciate that. And of course, we thank you, those of you that have traveled over to buymeacoffee.com/5am podcast and bought us a few of those delicious cups of virtual coffee this week and last. We do appreciate all levels of support. Jason Heinritz, welcome to the 5 a.m. podcast.
Hey, Michael, thanks for having me.
It's great. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Me too.
And I wanted to first ask this part of you forging this team that was like a top direct sales team. What were a couple of those things that either compelled you to do that, or how did you compel the people to follow in your wake as you were getting these sales and accolades?
Yeah, well, I would say what got me into it is I just didn't quit. I mean, indirect sales can be very tough at times, but I started as a 19-year-old college kid. I got a letter in the mail. It's to sell Cutco knives.
Okay.
And I thought I might as well check this out. Started as a rep, and then I just kept showing up, kept improving, kept growing. And what's really cool is I saw I got a lot of worth in the position. I saw what I was capable of. I was pretty good in sports, but when it came to the business world of things, I didn't actually see my dedication, hard work pay off. I was working at Culver's for a couple of years, flipping burgers, and I just didn't really have the opportunity to let my ambition and drive shine. So this job helped me run with it. Graduated from college debt-free, loved it, grew so much as a person that I thought, man, I want to help other people do this also. And so I graduated from a small school in Wisconsin called UW-Whitewater and decided to stick with the company and open up an office and just continue to grow and expand. But I would say now what keeps me here is, one, in a faith perspective, Michael, it is my mission field. Where I don't know where else I can influence and help and have that impact on 100 to 200 people on a yearly basis, but also just seeing the growth in people and seeing them just make moves and do things they didn't think they could do, and knowing that I had a little bit of a hand in that. I mean, the program's pretty dialed in. You just got to show up and follow all the scripts and work hard.
Right.
To see that, it's such a proving ground for people to practice and fail and learn. So I love the direct sales industry. It's also, can be very challenging as well, but that's what's got me to the point right now where I'm at. And again, I don't think I'm anything special. I just keep showing up, keep working hard, keep learning from others, and I'm still here 21 years later.
Right. So when you have, whether they're a younger person or let's say someone in their 20s to 30s coming in, and you can see that they don't really know what they're capable of. How do you build that person up so that they know that they can overcome maybe their own personal objections, but that they can actually discover their potential?
Sure. Well, one way to help them have the motivation, Michael, is I start with like a why workshop. So
Okay.
WHY, of what's in it for them. Why should they do this? Not just
Yeah.
there's a goal to have a goal, but
Right.
what is it going to do for my life and my future? So we really do a lot of vision painting of in the future, this is what you could have. This is what this can do for you. And so we
Yeah.
start with that. And then we want to go through, excuse me, a little bit of a past where if they have, everyone has some type of success, whether they think it's big or small. So I want to build upon that and go, you have done great things in your past. You have done things you didn't think you could do. Why would it stop now? And then I want to tie it into the little wins of catching them doing things right and reminding them that they're great and reminding them of their first big set sale and how great that felt and overcoming the fear of calling someone they were scared to call or having their biggest sales day or sales weeks, reminding them along the way after you've done the couple other things
Right.
first.
Yeah. And sometimes picking up that phone can feel like it's, I don't know, a 15 or 20-pound dumbbell.
Yeah.
And was there some tips or techniques that you were able to use to get people, man, I don't know if it's a comfort zone or that safe harbor that they felt, but you can do it. You can pick up the phone. What were some of those little tips and techniques that might help somebody who's listening today?
Yeah, many tips. So one would just be having a script, a proven script that works. Second would be practicing with each other. So to build some confidence after explaining the whys behind the script, having me or some training videos go through it, it's then let's practice. So reminding them, even though they sound horrible, saying, hey, did you stumble through it? Okay, you made it. All right, was the second time a little bit easier? Third time a little bit easier? Great. And then, hey, you can even tell, like some of your first customers, tell them, hey, Aunt Susie, I'm reading a script. Don't make fun of me. I'm going to go. Okay, read through it. So that's really the start. And then creating spaces of excitement. So whether it's in training to get them motivated and everyone's going to do this and everyone's going to make 15 phone calls and let's have a leaderboard and let's recognize everyone as they get their appointments, or having team gathered like Zoom phone jams, we call
Yeah.
them, where they
Right.
can all hop on, someone else is hosting it and hyping them up and being able to phone with them like an assistant
Right.
manager or a leader.
Yeah.
So there's someone paving the way and encouraging them while also there's some challenge in there as well.
Yeah. And so the reason I'm asking you these questions is it sounds like, and from what I know of sales too, is you're really building people up
Yeah.
and you're showing them what they're capable of. And we talk a lot about that at 5 a.m. podcast. But could you actually maybe give us a before and after snapshot of some of the people that came to work for you that, I mean, they weren't throwing themselves off a bridge, but they were having a real hard time to find purpose in their life. And what was their transformation like? Do you have a couple stories of that?
Sure. I mean, I have myself even. Myself, I was seeking worth. I was seeking appreciation. I had done well in sports just because I worked hard, not because I was naturally talented. Everything I've done, it took a lot of work to do. It was rare that I was ever good right away.
Yeah.
And same thing with Cutco. I started, Michael, and there was just a big fast start promotion to go out, get after it for 10 days and see what you're made of. There's a lot of carrots we dangle, a lot of contests as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I was all pumped up, all excited. I'm a hard worker. I'm driven. Get out there day one, sell nothing. I have my parents telling me, who's going to buy these knives. My mom's side is more on the poor side. My dad's
Okay.
side is on the really cheap side. So I got told constantly, too expensive, we're not going to buy. Michael, went second day, no sales, third day, no sales, fourth day. I went 0 for 9 on days of no sales. And I started, I doubted myself if I could do this. And I also was still showing up to everything. But finally, my 10th day, I had a small sale and it boosted my confidence. All right, I can do this. And then I started diving into the competitions, believing in myself more, trying to get rid of some of the naysayers and get
Mm-hmm.
that out of my head, and then focus on what I could do and what I was capable of and what my managers were saying as they poured into me. So I would say, I mean, I hit the ground running. It was awesome. I was a slow learner. Took me a couple of weeks and then it started popping. And that really was a transformation in, hey, I can do well in sports, but also I can do great in life and I can do great with anything I put my mind to in the real world,
Yeah.
after schooling. So
Right.
I always like to use my example,
Yeah.
just because I know it the best. But there are
Absolutely.
tons and tons of examples of people who just like they grew up in the wrong situation. They were born in a rough situation, or no one believed in them, or no one was telling them they were worth anything. And we'll for sure give those people a shot and pour into them and see what they can do. And so that's really another reason why I love what I do as a manager,
Yeah.
because I can
Right.
help a lot of people believe in themselves and really, use it as a stepping stone, whether they're with us for heck, a few weeks, a few months, or a few years.
Thanks for watching the show. Just a reminder that you can get all of our resources, other episodes, and read our blog posts at 5ampodcast.com. Turn everyday teaching moments into a valuable lesson about long-term wealth preservation. Gold prices have historically risen during economic uncertainty. The time is now. Visit mindstandgold.com today and secure your family's future with your first gold purchase. Start their golden future at mindstandgold.com. The other side of this too is the friends that we have maybe when we enter into something like this.
Yep.
And then we realize, boy, we need a different network. We need a different group of friends.
Yep.
Was that a factor for you as well?
Yeah, I had a bunch of friends who were, partiers, who were not pursuing anything great necessarily. They were really great people, but they were focused on school and fun and getting through the projects and then just partying. So throughout college, I was in that bubble. And I definitely had to break away from a lot of them as I started moving on up in Cutco and as I graduated and moved
Yeah.
out on my own to run my own office. There's just a bunch of situational friends, again, great people, but I found they really only, like, they weren't necessarily there for me. They were there as convenience and for a ride or for a fun person to party with. And so that was something I had to try to break away from some of them, not in a mean way, but for sure, I started looking for successful people, looking for people who were more who I wanted to be or who I wanted to become, and then tried to attach to them, learn from them, surround myself with more of their knowledge.
Right.
That was I was lucky in the business because there's so many examples in where I work that I could learn from them. I didn't have to search too far, but there was a
Yeah.
lot of books I started reading, actually enjoyed it because I was learning for my future and success and not just because a teacher told me I had to.
Right.
So that helped
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it totally changes the perspective when you find out the book actually has nuggets of truth and some
Yep.
gold nuggets in your own life. And I was in the Think and Grow Rich book by Napoleon Hill. He talks about how there's far more gold mined in the minds of men than in the minds of the earth. And was there an aha moment for you when you realized, oh man, this is actually good for me. I can actually succeed and build a life with this.
Yeah, I would say, there's so many moments along the way. I would say just my first sale, like, all right, I can do this, made more than a minimum base pay
Yes.
made some commission. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
I made $50 in the last hour as a 19-year-old. That's better than $8 an hour at Culver's.
Yes.
Whoa, what can I do here? So that was a big moment. Also, when the different milestones of a size of paychecks.
Right.
And then really as a career, it was after my first year and a half as a manager. I was just grinding it out. I was loving it. It was amazing. I was hanging out with my team all the time, having a ton of fun. I was addicted to it for sure. And just seeing the people I was developing to help me run different areas of the business then, as
Yeah.
well as the income that was coming in, I thought I can actually do this like forever. And this is a little bit easier than trying to start my own business.
Yes.
But that's what really started me thinking long term, and now still here 21 years later.
Right. So then in your journey from, let's say, direct sales success and mentor to the spiritual mentor,
Mhm.
it's an interesting conversation and thoughts to have. What was that specific moment or experience that made you realize that you wanted to shift which kingdom you were building, from building your own to building God's kingdom?
I say I'd have two shifts. So one so in my 20s, I was 1 foot in the world, 1 foot out, chasing all the pleasures, chasing fun, accolades, partying, success, trophies, all of that. And then I actually ended up getting engaged, and it was to so I'm a big Jesus guy. So it's very important that we were equally yoked, and
Yes.
we were both trying to pretend to be someone for each other.
Okay.
And so she, it was all based our relationship, sex, fun, pleasures, partying, all of that. So when it got real, and I'm like, wait, we need to adjust this. she didn't take that very well. And so I was so nervous. I was so worried about, I don't think this is going to work out. And I even thought, hey, I'd rather delay a wedding than call off a marriage. And based on where we're
Hmm.
at right now, we are not ready. This is going to be not good. And so in that fall of 2012, I was pretty down and depressed. I realized, man, I'm chasing all these pleasures, chasing building my own kingdom. I need to get back grounded and dive back into church. And so I dove back into church. God was always there. I was always a Christian, but I
Right.
wasn't fully practicing, and it wasn't like an actual priority. And I went to a Tony Robbins event that fall, which was a game changer. I read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod that fall, which was a
Mm-hmm.
game changer. And so those few things that happened and getting out of that rut, realized I need to make sure people know that Jesus needs to be a foundation if they really want that full peace and full joy. Because chasing all these pleasures and all these accolades, they're
Hmm.
fun, but they're not truly fulfilling. So
Hmm.
that was one minor shift. And that's where I'd say, Michael, I started actually saying that God was my number one priority. But until 5 years ago, it didn't actually switch to actually me living it out. So then fast forward, we got 2020. I'm married to an awesome wife. We have our first child, and COVID hits, and all these things change. Of why am I chasing
Mm.
these accolades and this
Yeah.
this wealth? And this isn't fulfilling. It's actually stressful. I have a child now. I have a marriage now. How do I actually make this a priority? So it's been a long cleansing, sanctification like crazy from
Yeah.
God over the last 5 years, and really all in 2 years ago when I got rebaptized. And now it's a complete focus of building God's kingdom
Hmm.
and not my own.
Right. So it sounds like there was some of those struggles there, and consistency of spiritual disciplines, we might
Yep.
say.
Yep.
That's a very important word, a discipline, resilience, those kinds of words, better than the heavy D's, of course, the discouragement, disappointment, and all of those ugly words. But many believers can struggle with that consistency in their spiritual discipline. What's the most common reason you think that people fail to establish lasting, let's say, holy habits? And talk about your approach to addressing this challenge.
Yeah, I would say it's just not a priority. They haven't made, people set goals for their weight, for their income, for their status and their promotion, but it's not really a priority because we'd rather do everything else but sit down. And most people would rather just do anything else besides praying, reading the Bible, and some of the things that may seem boring or
Yeah.
lame at first.
Yeah.
You're like, I want the hyped up sermon. I want that awesome worship song to get me going. But it's actually that time with God in the morning, and what
Hmm.
I call a sacred start, to start your day in these holy moments with Him and you, making sure that you're right first. And it's so easy with these stupid things that just distract us. It's like, man, it's so easy to go and look at the news, look at social media and emails, and be stressed out and distracted from the start of waking up. So we can dive more into those habits and all that,
Yes.
but that's what I would say is people just they don't put it in their calendar. And it's
Hmm.
not a priority. They're just waking up willy-nilly, going,
Yeah.
all right, what do I have to do today? What's the last moment I can sleep until? When can I hit
Right.
snooze? And like, I know I said I'm
Yeah.
gonna wake up at 6:30, but what time can I hit snooze till I actually have to get up? Then they're rushed, they're stressed, they're
Yeah.
worried, going off to their day, not starting it with peace and joy in
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah. And on podcast, it's right in the name here,
Yep.
those important, let's say, allocation of time. And it's that forethought of knowing I can't go to bed this late because I know how important and critical my mornings are. And so your sacred start, what does your idea look like, or your recommendation look like for people who want to adopt a more intentional and functional morning routine so that they don't have that stress because they've hit the snooze button 3 times and they didn't realize 3 times 9 is 27. Oh my goodness. I needed that 27 minutes.
Yeah. Well, like you mentioned, Michael, your morning starts the evening before. So
Hmm.
really, your evening alarm is more important than your morning alarm.
That's for
So my
sure.
alarm goes off at 9:20. So it reminds me, even if we're in the middle of a really good Netflix episode, that hey, this is it. There's no more watching. This is our last episode. We need to get ready for bed soon. So I like to be in bed by 10 o'clock. Do on my normal, I call it a necessary night
Yeah, right.
things like affirmations and winding down, and maybe it includes nose tape and mouth tape and blackout blinds and some magnesium, some other things. I'm not the health expert, but I just watch all the guys and try to follow,
Yes.
emulate some of that. But it's having that night that allows you to get enough sleep so when you wake up, you're rested and refreshed. So you don't feel like hitting snooze. And then also, the last thought you think at night typically is the first one in the morning. So if you're thinking at night, oh, I'm going to feel so tired, I have so much to do tomorrow, today was such a stressful day, what do you know? You wake up thinking, oh my gosh, this day is going to be horrible, I'm so tired. So really, your evening sets up your morning. And in biblical, right?
Yes.
The Sabbath,
Totally.
the days, like the Jewish days, they started at sundown the night before.
Yeah.
So think if you actually thought of your evening and your sleep as not the
Yeah.
end of the day,
It's the
but the
start.
start of the next day. So 5 a.m., I love waking up between about 4:45 and 5:15 based on the if it's a weekend or not and how much time I have to get the
Mm-hmm.
kids ready.
Right.
So really for your sacred start, it really depends on, it's not necessarily that it's at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. It's how much time do you need to get in what you feel is going to make you right?
Yeah.
And what time do you need to be done by? So for me, I know Monday through Friday, I bring my boys to school. And so they're done or they're up by 7:15. I have no shot at anything I want to do. It is
Yes.
up, it's their time. So I need to look back and go, okay, cool. To get my daily routine in, which I like to call the daily pavers,
Mm-hmm.
is going to be from about 5 a.m. till about 7:15. Give or take based on the day. So pavers, they start, pave the way for the rest of the day. So it's prayer, affirmations. It's also visualization of your God-given dreams. The affirmations are from scripture as well. And
Yes.
then exercise, getting your body right, reading the Bible, and then scribing, AKA journaling.
Wow, wonderful. I love that. Pavers. That's really very clever and wise. There's a lot of wisdom in that. And I want to ask you then, how can people get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, a few ways. So I'm on just Jason Heinritz on social medias, but if you go to wakeupjesuspeople.com, so wakeupjesuspeople.com, there is a book that's not out yet, but it's being released soon based on when the episode airs. There's
Okay.
also a journal. So you have a journal already there, already ready to roll. And this
Nice.
is the journal that's a great complement and companion to the book to get in that daily practice. But yeah, I'd say Wake Up Jesus People is probably the best spot. And there's a lot of different challenges and
Mm-hmm.
links on there that someone can also learn more about the Wake Up Jesus People movement.
Right. Well, that's really good. I'm really liking this conversation, and I gotta circle back to what you mentioned of just think that your day actually starts with rest. If you think of how the Hebrews did it, and still, Jewish Israeli people today know that it's sundown when the day actually starts, and so we can actually start our day with rest. And it's not that when you wake up, your day starts. We've already started our day with rest. And so now we can get up and we're not hurried. My dad used to say, and it would bug me, but I thought it was clever later as I grew, the hurrier I go, the behinder I get. And so that speeding through, I wanted to ask you too about your content often mentions spiritual disciplines like fasting, the Sabbath rest that we just talked about, and worship. Which of these has been maybe most transformative in your own transition in life?
Mm, that's good. Well, for me, I would say I really resonate with worship. It's where I feel the Holy Spirit the most come alive. I would say though, when there's breakthroughs, my wife and I do fasting, whether it's with the church or on our own, before big moments and big decisions. And so I'd say fasting has been most powerful for
Yeah.
us, but worship has been the most freeing. And I used to listen to podcasts left and right. Again, great
Yep.
podcasts, but I was obsessed with gaining just more knowledge, more
Yeah.
information. And every day I was driving or in the gym, I was listening to a podcast and always consuming. Instead of now, it's been the last few years, only worship music. So it just puts me at peace and fill my mind with this worship music that puts me at such a state of confidence, peace, and joy. Starts
Huh.
my day off right. I'm not thinking about what else I need to do, what else I should implement.
Yeah.
It's more of I'm just there just listening to God. And it's amazing how many times the music will speak to you or put you in a great state.
Right.
But man, there's nothing better. I've really gotten into worship of like fully surrendering, raising my hands in church. Just it's been so, I've been so much more connected to God in those ways since I've really released my worries and
Yes.
ego and just worshiped.
Right. And that fasting, that aspect of dying to self, of the spirit component of ourselves,
Hmm.
being able to be the one that's sitting in the throne as opposed to the flesh and running after everything. And so you mentioned the word surrender.
Yeah.
So this concept of surrender definitely appears central in your own story. What does that surrender look like in the daily life of someone that's got ambition and drive like yourself?
Yes. That's a good one. Well, it's dying to self, meaning I want to be less like me and
Yeah,
more like Jesus. Not that I'm a bad human, but
right.
I'm flawed and I have a lot of, just I'm trying to control everything. I have doubts, I have concerns, and when I can just surrender and go, hey, the creator of the universe is in control. He's got us. He's led me this far. Why is he going to stop? He's blessed me with all these amazing things. Why would he stop? And the more I can obey him, lean into him and surrender to my goals, my ambitions,
Yeah.
my desires, not that any of those are bad, but if that is my priority and I'm putting my wealth
Mm-hmm.
or my accolades above God, like that's an idol. It's very clear in the Bible what happens to people who worship other idols.
That's
And
true.
so it's really dying to my own ambitions and still having goals and dreams
Right.
100% and having
Yeah.
wants and desires, but making sure I'm praying and even fasting to make sure, hey, God, I'd love this and this would be great, but hey, it's up to you. And even with the book and the journal and the 40 Forge program,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm excited to bring this to the world, but also it's not up to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it blows up or not. God put it on my heart to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going with it and seeing what God does with it.
Right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the comment section on just about every platform we're on. We'd love to hear your comments. Maybe there's some struggles that you're working through or you're not sure how to work through them. Definitely connect with Jason. Of course, you can connect with us too at 5am Podcast, but absolutely head over to Jason's website. And there's a lot of great resources there. It's wakeupjesuspeople.com. So, as we're wrapping up, Jason, if somebody's listening, they're kind of wondering what to put in the comments and they don't really want to tell us the truth, that maybe they're self-employed and they're struggling because their clients are like, you can always get the slow pay, no pay, or eventually pay. So let's say someone's struggling with this and they're like, man, it's the end of the month. I was really counting on these people, kind of putting my trust in them that they were going to come through financially for me. And maybe, I don't really know this God thing, but
Hmm.
I'm intrigued. Is there an avenue? What would you say to someone like that that's struggling today?
Yeah, I would say, I'm glad you're listening here. And I would say, how has it worked so far for you? Take a take a real look at your inventory of your life, your relationships, your peace, your joy. Are you truly fulfilled and truly at peace? Because I know how I am before making God a priority and now making him a priority. And so I'd say just give it a shot. Don't let um no church is perfect. No Christian is perfect. Don't let don't let maybe some hypocritical Christians stop you from seeing Christ. And don't let some bad church hurt or some weird church situation stop you from knowing like that there's amazing
Yeah.
people in there, an amazing community. God designed the church for a reason. So just check it out. Again, I'm not here to preach or to sell. I mean, Jesus, kind of, but it's like, it's all up to you. It's your own journey. We can't force you to do anything, but all I know is my life with and without Jesus, and I choose with him completely because life is very difficult and stressful
Yeah.
without him. With him, man, so much peace and joy. It's
Right. Yeah, I would say the same is true for me. And the way I look at it is not about making converts or people becoming converts, but it's about becoming disciples,
Mhm,
finding that person that you can follow in the wake of and be that disciple of. And
mhm,
Jason, I got to say thank you for being with us today and sharing your insights.
mhm.
And I love that idea of taking stock of the before or during and after the different stages of our life.
Yeah. And if I can add another thing then, Michael,
Yes,
too.
please.
With the book, so it's Wake Up Jesus People. When I think about who it's intended for, it could be for the person who's searching and curious.
Hmm.
It could also be for the person who's been stagnant and sleeping and
Right.
sleepwalking as a Jesus person. You could
Yeah.
be a Christian or not and be in the same position of your life happiness if you're really leaning on him or not. 'Cause making the decision to follow Christ is the start, and it's
Yeah.
actually going to only get harder when it comes to cleansing old relationships,
Mm.
getting rid of some bad habits and leaning on him, because it can be confusing at first. And there's a
Hmm.
lot to learn, but really, if you just love him and you love people, and then you have resources, if you want to check out, Wake Up Jesus People, like it is about waking up. A lot of us are sleepwalking through life. We're not truly happy, we're not
Yeah.
truly fulfilled. So you give it a shot, whether it's, my stuff or someone else's stuff, whatever gets you closer to Jesus,
Hmm.
whatever denomination, whatever city, whatever church, it doesn't really matter. We can argue on the 10 to 20% that we might not disagree on. How about we
Yeah.
focus on the 80% that all of us, Jesus people, really agree upon, but then also find those people, ask questions, get curious. No question is dumb, and lean into that and see what you think. And then take another inventory and see if you're better off or not.
Right. Wow. Such a great conversation, Jason. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And of course, thank you too for our viewers. We appreciate you being here and joining in on this conversation. If you haven't already, help us grow the channel with a like, a subscribe, and a share. I am positive that we all have friends. I mean, I'm thinking of a couple right now that I can share this with and say, hey, have a listen to what Jason's coming up with. I would love to delve into this more, and even sales experience. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you can, but I can see how all of this stuff fits together. And we all have those experiences in our lives, right? With the ebb and flow of success, failure, obstacles, and smooth paths. So thank you for being here. And of course, if you could give a 5-star review on your favorite podcast player for 5 a.m. podcast. And of course, thanks again to our friends that have gone over to buymeacoffee.com/5 a.m. podcast. We do appreciate all levels of participation and helping 5 a.m. podcast succeed in our plans and goals to help people and be an encourager. As we say, we are purveyors of hope at 5 a.m. podcast. So thanks again for all your support. Jason, thanks again for being here. And until next time, please seize your days and enjoy those sunrises and sunsets and all those adventures in between. I'm Michael Clausen. Thanks for watching the show. Just a reminder that you can get all of our resources, other episodes, and read our blog posts at 5ampodcast.com. Turn everyday teaching moments into a valuable lesson about long-term wealth preservation. Gold prices have historically risen during economic uncertainty. The time is now. Visit myinstantgold.com.